Hello, everyone. How are we doing tonight? For those of you that do not know, my name is Sean. If you are new to the channel or coming off of Facebook or somewhere, I run Whiskey Wars. So welcome to the stream. Tonight, several different things we wanted just going to go over. I had a lot of questions for you guys, the subscribers, and also thank you for all of my subscribers. We're pushing almost 300 now. I think we're at 279. So thank you, everybody that has joined the channel. Appreciate it very much. You guys are awesome. You mean a lot to me. So thank you. Also, we're going to go over a store haul briefly tonight as well. So we'll go through that. And then, of course, just have a discussion. So I guess first we will get into the store haul since we're still kind of waiting on folks to show up here. So I was down in Florida last week and just did some hunting, looking around, and was able to find a few bottles that are harder to find here in Kentucky. So this is one of them, High West Campfire. That was a cool find. And for those of you that don't know, this is straight rye whiskey, straight bourbon whiskey, and blended malt scotch. So pretty cool. It has, and this is a peaty scotch in there, so it has kind of a smokiness to it. So that's kind of interesting, a little bit different than a standard bourbon or rye. Then I found this. Another one's kind of hard to find here in Kentucky, Redwood Empire's Lost Monarch, and it's good. That's all I'll say about it for now, but that was a cool find. And then also found this fairly recently as well. And this review will be coming pretty soon. And that is Redwood Empire's Pipe Dream. Probably Wednesday, that review will be out. And then also got Larceny Barrel Proof. And I was really excited to find this at a decent price. I'd been looking for it for quite a while and finally found one at a good price. So I was really happy about that. And that review also will be coming, I believe, Saturday, if all goes well. So that's kind of what's in the near future for the channel. I was hoping to have a few more folks in here by now, but we'll see how it goes. In the meantime, though, I'm going to pour myself a little bit of the Redwood Empire's Pipe Dream. As I said, that review should be out Wednesday, so you guys can look forward to that. Also, if you're watching this on Saturday evening, then the Knob Creek review came out today, and it's doing pretty well. So thank you for everybody that's been watching that today. And I asked the question in that, do you guys think that Knob Creek 9-year is better than Eagle Rare? Not to cover too much of what the review covers, but personally, I think that it is a better bourbon. I know that the mash bills are completely different and kind of a completely different take on bourbon, but I think that Eagle Rare has some nice flavor profiles. They do kind of vary a little bit, but I guess my issue with it, as you see in my Eagle Rare review, is that they've just watered it down too much for my palate anyway. I think Knob Creek does a much better year of an older age stated bourbon. And so, yeah, that's why I rated the one Knob Creek higher than the Eagle Rare. I think it has just, I don't know, there's just more to it all around. A longer finish, better mouthfeel, better palate, to me anyway. I know that people will probably argue with that. There's a lot of Eagle Rare fans out there. But for me, I think that it's better. And of course, I go into more detail in the review that's out today. So hope you guys check that out and enjoy it. But I also wanted to just really thank all of my subscribers. Thank you so much, everybody that's joined the channel. I appreciate all the comments that we get on the videos, and also even the critiques. Those have been very helpful. I've never done anything like YouTube before. I have no background in videography or editing or any of that. I just kind of had to figure it out as I went. It hasn't been too difficult, but definitely not something I was used to doing. My background is in construction, landscaping, things like that. If you need me to fix something in your house or plant a tree or take a tree out of your yard, plumbing, pool equipment, pool maintenance, those are all things I'm pretty skilled in, but never did anything at all like YouTube. So, yeah, this was a completely different direction for me, completely new kind of, I guess you would say, business. So still getting used to that, still trying to hone my skills and become better at this whole YouTube thing. But I really appreciate those of you that have enjoyed the, especially the early reviews, which I think are kind of rough. I hope that I'm improving. And as I said, you guys, the viewers, if you guys are seeing things that maybe you think I could improve, or maybe especially if you are a fellow YouTuber, if you found things that have been helpful, new ways to edit, different things to record, maybe different mics that are affordable for audio or cameras, so on, then all that information is super helpful to share. I know, so I started on a Canon Vixia, what is it? Something like HF 600. And that camera is down right now, having issues with the memory card. Yeah, it's been really annoying. It will read the memory card and know that it's there when you start the camera up, but then as soon as you go to record, it just acts like nothing's there. So that's been pretty frustrating. So working on either getting that fixed or getting a new camera. In the meantime, I've been shooting off my wife's phone, which has been working okay, but not great. And so if you guys have noticed maybe a slight difference in quality, especially audio wise, that's why. It does not, even though I'm using the same exact mic, it does not record the audio the same at all. So I have to do a lot of editing in post to try and make the audio sound clear, not so echoey. And the mic is definitely working. It's not the phone mic that's picking it up. It is my mic, but I feel like the audio has kind of suffered. So I apologize for that. We're hoping to get that fixed soon. Also, if you guys want to donate to the channel to help me resolve those issues, that would be very much appreciated. I'm working on different ways to allow you guys to do that if you want to. And of course, that would be much appreciated. But let's get into some whiskey here. So this is Redwood Empire's Pipe Dream. And I just actually did the review of this today. I will be editing it probably tomorrow and hopefully have it out by Wednesday. That is the goal. And not to give too much away as far as what's going to be in the review, but I think the nose is okay, but the palate is pretty good. Yep, just as good as it was earlier. So I think for a $30-ish bourbon, this is a nice pour. I see we got one new person here. So what we're drinking is Redwood Empire's Pipe Dream. So if you have any experience with that, feel free to share your thoughts. As I was just saying, I think the nose is kind of lacking, but the palate is pretty nice. And so, yeah, and the review will be out hopefully Wednesday. But I got to say, it was quite a week for me to go on vacation. So let's see, all the things that happened this week, aside from me being on vacation, like China possibly going to war with Taiwan soon. That's something. Alec Baldwin killed a person. Let's see, what else was in the news? All kinds of stuff. So quite a week. I don't know how everybody else is faring with all the craziness that's going on right now. Hopefully good. Hopefully you're keeping mentally stable and all that good stuff. And, whiskey helps. So hoping that we could get some comments. I don't know who my one viewer is. Oh, we got two now. Cool. But let me know, what are you guys up to tonight? What are you drinking? What are your thoughts on if you have tried Redwood Empire's Pipe Dream? What are your thoughts on that? And if you are a subscriber, if folks viewing are subscribers, then please let me know what you guys would like to see in the near future. That's one of the primary reasons I did this stream tonight, is I wanted to kind of reach out to you guys and see what reviews maybe you're looking forward to seeing that I have not done, maybe comparisons I haven't done, things like that. I mean, I have a lot of stuff shot already, but you know, I'm always ready to film new stuff. All right, Adam has showed up, and I figured that if you did show up, that would be your first comment, absolutely. And as I've said before, so I don't know if anybody else has picked up, but so I kind of am doing whiskeys in order of price. So we started with the super budget stuff, and you know, I have skipped around some, but so right now we're kind of doing the $30-ish price range stuff, and so 1910 is coming, Adam, for sure. Right. So in the near future, we got both of these Redwood Empires will be reviews done soon. This is, of course, not a $30, but it is a seasonal, so I wanted to get this done since it was just released fairly recently. Well, not really, but I found it recently. So anyway, so Adam, what are we doing tonight? And also, are you keeping up with basketball? What do you think about those Lakers? What are your thoughts? I don't know, man. It's kind of what I felt would happen. I don't think Westbrook is a good fit, but we'll see. Maybe as the season progresses, things will change. I mean, I think LeBron and AD are putting up good numbers, but I don't know. Never had a lot of faith in Westbrook, and I can't say that's changed much. But anyway, I don't know who else we got. It shows 2 people viewing. Oh, okay. Adam is watching MLB postseason. Cool. Yeah, I got to say I was surprised by the Bucks and the Knicks loss. Not Knicks. Bucks and the Nets. Yeah, I hope so, because man, they had to move a lot of pieces around to get Westbrook, and hopefully they do get into a rhythm because they're paying him crazy money. So hopefully he's worth it. And you know, hopefully the other guys can start filling in more so that AD and LeBron don't have to carry the team. Because man, that first game, well, first regular season game, it was basically all on them. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It'll be interesting to see how this season plays out. So, Adam, will we drink anything tonight? We have anything in the glass? Now, while we wait for responses and things. Nope, not yet. Yep, I agree. Yeah, I don't know. It was, I mean, probably one of Westbrook's worst games. I was surprised. I mean, I know that it's a completely different setup than OKC, but man, just I don't know. Very disappointing. I expected a lot more. I mean, I definitely expected more assists and kind of rebounds, those kind of. I mean, that's kind of his thing. He is the triple double guy, but not at all in that first game. I feel like this is an odd conversation since you're right next door. But anyway, so folks, they're watching. So to celebrate our 250 sub night, my other neighbor gave me some bear that he killed last night. So that was awesome. So I had bear steaks and veggies tonight to celebrate the 250ness. So that was cool. Adam, have you ever had bear? I feel like we've had this conversation before, but I don't remember the answer. I thought it was good. I think if you prepared it right, I don't think anyone would know it's not cow steaks. I thought it was pretty great. It was a little tough, but it wasn't aged at all or anything. Actually, Shorty just cut it up like 2 hours before I grilled it. So all that said, I thought it was pretty awesome. So now, folks, moving on to our second bottle here in my store haul, and that is Redwood Empire's Lost Monarch, which I have not reviewed yet, but I do like it. Yeah, Shorty, he got his bear down in Tennessee. I guess their season opened last week, and he said he just barely made it. I guess he said last night was the last night. So that's cool, and he got a pretty good size one. He said there's somewhere around 350 pounds. Yeah, I'll get to that in 1 second. I'll rehash that. And he's having the hide. I guess he took it to a taxidermist, so he's gonna make a mount out of it. So that'll be cool. And yeah, he got a ton of meat. He said something like 200 pounds of meat. It was a lot of meat. And he gave me probably, I don't know, he probably gave me 5 or 6 pounds. He gave me quite a bit. So that was cool. As far as shopping spree, yeah, just to rehash. So I got Redwood Empire's Lost Monarch. This was all when I was down in Florida. Well, actually, this one was pre-Florida, but right before that. Redwood Empire's Pipe Dream. This is a Florida find. It's hard to find here. High West Campfire, which is like a blend of rye, bourbon, and scotch. And then this guy right here, which I was super excited about, Larceny Barrel Proof B521, which that review will be out soon. So yeah, those were some cool finds. And really, this is the one I'm most excited about. I got this for $80. And I know that's $10 over MSRP for anybody watching this and complaining about the fact that I didn't pay MSRP, but I've never seen it under 120, so I was pretty happy about that. So that was a good find, and the guy that ran the shop that I got it at was awesome. He let me try a bunch of samples of store picks that he did, and I wish that he was closer. Unfortunately, he is in Macon, Georgia, so probably not going to be visiting that store anytime soon. But, oh well. If you're in Macon, Georgia, though, folks, and you want a good, I'm still here. I spilled whiskey. If you're in Macon, Georgia, though, and you want a good whiskey store, I think it's called Vineville Whiskey and Cigars. And he has an awesome cigar shop as well in there. I mean, it's a good size room. He has a. So if you're into cigars, that's cool. Oh. What was the ridiculous price? I'm just curious. Because I know I paid MSRP, so. So while Adam's responding, so Florida was cool. Now, for those of you that don't know, that's where I moved from. Lived there for most of my life. My parents moved us there when I was 4 or 5 and lived there till I was 37. So basically grew up there. Don't miss it at all, though. Way too hot, way too much traffic. How can I say this? Unfortunately, Now, let me be clear. My wife speaks Spanish. She is half Puerto Rican, but the area of Orlando, Kissimmee that we lived in was getting to the point where you could go to a restaurant, say Burger King, McDonald's, many fast food places like that, and if you were to place an order, they would not understand you because of the language barrier. So that was getting frustrating as well. And just the heat, the heat in Florida is just oppressive. It's just ridiculous hot. It's a whole different kind of hot than here. Kentucky gets warm, but it's not the same. In Florida, you can step out of your car and just start instantly sweating. It's just gross. I don't know why anyone stays there. It's just like my least favorite place to visit in the summer ever. I can't imagine enjoying that weather, but to each their own. Hey, and we got Hanging AZ joining us. All right, awesome. Now I got two people to chat with. It says there's 3 people watching, but only 2 people are chatting, but that's okay. Oh, no, somebody left. Anyway, so Hanging AZ, I will rehash for you so you don't have to go back and rewatch stuff. So did a real quick store haul. Got 2 things from Redwood Empire, Lost Monarch, and Pipe Dream. Also got this High West Campfire, which is a pretty cool blend of rye, bourbon, and scotch. And it's a peated scotch, so it's kind of smoky, which is kind of cool. And then Larceny Barrel Proof B521, which I'm super excited about. And so Redwood Empire's Pipe Dream should be out Wednesday, that review on that. And then Larceny Barrel Proof should be out next Saturday. But anyway, how are you doing, man? Good to see you. Thank you for joining. I know it's a different night than normal. Me and Charles were trying to get together and do a stream last night, but it just didn't work out. I was still editing a video because I was coming back from vacation and I didn't have one ready to go for Saturday morning. So to keep my schedule, I kind of had to work on that and not do a stream. So yeah, so that's what happened with that. Yeah, that Campfire is about 60. I think I paid 55, and that is an exceptionally good price though, because now I found that down in Florida, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. So really all of these except for the Pipe Dream. This one I did not find in Florida. That one I got in Kentucky right before we went on vacation. But the other 3 I found, well, actually, no, that's not true either. So I found these 2 in Florida at the same store. And great guy down there that knew a ton about whiskey and bourbon and shared several samples with me. And I wish he was a lot closer instead of 12-hour drive away. And then this Larceny Barrel Proof I got for 80 at a shop in Macon, Georgia. And that guy was also awesome. I wish he was a lot closer as well because he had some great store picks that I wish I could have picked up, but we'd spent too much on our vacation, so I was kind of limited on the budget. But anyway, so I'm very excited about all those. The Campfire is really different. You know, because it has peated scotch in it, you kind of get that smokiness from the peated scotch as well as kind of the bourbon and rye notes. So it's pretty interesting and pretty different. I like it, but it probably wouldn't be for everyone because you get some of those peaty scotch notes, like kind of a medicinal kind of brininess in there. It's not overwhelming like a typical peated scotch, but definitely it's present. See here, doing well, only holiday 1.7. Okay, yeah, well, that's always a good pickup. Wild Turkey 101. They have that Campfire at Walgreens near me for about 60. Yeah, so if you like peated scotches, or maybe you're trying to get into peated scotch, okay, well, there you go. So you like Lefroy. Yeah, so this might be kind of a cool pickup for you then, because it's kind of the best of everything. You get the smokiness from the peat as well as the sweetness and kind of the nice notes from rye and bourbon, because it's a blend of all 3. So I like it. I think it's pretty good. I kind of like the addition of the smokiness kind of added to the bourbon and rye notes. So yeah, that review will be fairly soon. Once we kind of, well, I might do it sooner. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I was happy with all those pickups. I got to say, of course, this review will be out Wednesday. When I first opened this, I was not a fan at all. I thought it tasted really young. It was very hot. It's only 90 proof, but it drank way hotter than that. And just kind of was wondering why anyone would recommend it. But now that I've had it open for about a week or two now, it's opened up and it's pretty good now. I actually reviewed it fairly positively. That's all I'll say about it. The review will be out Wednesday again. Larceny. So you like Larceny? I do as well. I think that Larceny is a way overlooked wheated bourbon. I think more people should pay attention to Larceny. Everybody's chasing the Weller Special Reserve, and that's great if that's your thing. But personally, I prefer Larceny, and it's on the shelf every day, all the time. And then the barrel proof, just everything that regular Larceny does, this just steps it up to like 11, and it's awesome. You'll see in the review more details about it, but yeah, I did the review today, and it's great. The first pour was very hot, which you kind of expect with barrel proofs, but I let it sit for 3 or 4 days, then I did the review, and just in that time, it opened up quite a bit, and it's excellent now. I'm very happy with the bottle. I know that there's not a lot of lovers of Larceny barrel proof in the community, which I think is unfortunate, because I think if you can find it, definitely pick it up. I need to pick up a birthday bottle for around 60. Contenders are Woodford Double Oak, Rare Breed, and Old Forester 1920. Which would you pick? Man, that is tough. Okay, so let me say this first. Now I'm assuming this is not for yourself. This is for somebody else. In the double oak category, as Adam mentioned above, I actually prefer the Old Forester 1910 to the Woodford double oak. Same idea, coming from the same company, but I think that 1910 executes that style of bourbon better. Now, of course, it really comes down to, oh, it's for you. Okay. It really comes down to what flavor profile you prefer. I find the Woodford to be a lot more kind of cherry forward. And even though both are sweet, I would say that Woodford is sweeter, whereas 1910 is more kind of leathery, darker fruit notes. And it's still sweet, but I like the darker notes in that a bit. You kind of get like chocolates, like dark chocolates in there. Nice, really nice, rich caramels and brown sugars. There are kind of like some, like, I would say kind of like roasted dates or something like that in there. Personally, I prefer the 1910. If you're going to go with the double oak kind of thing, that's more how I would lean. And then Rare Breed, I mean, completely different, but I mean, awesome. I took a bottle down to Florida because my cousin had not had it. He's kind of just getting into whiskey, and he doesn't drink that often, but he does enjoy it. And so I brought probably my favorite bottle of Rare Breed down there, and we almost killed it. It was nearly full, and in 3 days it's almost gone now. There's like that much left. So Rare Breed is awesome. Completely different than 1910 or the double oak, but definitely good. And then, of course, Old Forester 1920 is also a completely different animal, probably more along the lines of like a Rare Breed, because both those are basically barrel proof. So I would say the difference between a 1920 and a Rare Breed is that a Rare Breed is more of the darker notes, kind of like comparing the Woodford and the 1910. The rare breed is more of the darker notes, and 1920 is more kind of brighter. A lot of cinnamon presence in that, a lot of cherry. Out of those two, man, that's tough. I like both of them a lot. I would say it's more of a mood thing. I don't think you could go wrong with either one. So I guess the way I would narrow it down personally is if you want something lighter proof, then I would go with 1910. If you want something kind of easier to sip on, something that's not gonna punch you in the face, then 1910. If you're gonna go with a higher proof, I don't think you can go wrong with either one. It just really comes down to your palate preference. I think they're both excellent. So rare breed or 1920. You do save about $10 to $15 with rare breed, so I guess that's something to consider. But they're both excellent. And as Adam said, yes, 1920 is hard to beat. It absolutely is. I don't honestly, if you are looking for like something to just, if you want to just kind of chill, kick back, just sit on the couch watching TV, kind of not have to think about it a whole lot, and it's not going to like tongue punch you. 1910 is amazing. I mean, it's not so hot that it's challenging. And it's super enjoyable. I mean, the flavors you get on 1910 are fantastic. I don't think that it gets enough love. I think it's an amazing bottle and that more people should be buying it. Although I say that, but then I'd be pissed if I couldn't find it. So actually, nobody buy it. Let's see here. What do we got? I'm enjoying higher proof. I drink on big. Okay. So that does change it a little bit. Although I think all four of those options, whether you go Woodford Double Oak or 1910 or the rare breed or the 1920, all of those have so much flavor. I mean, they're very complex. There's enough there that they stand up to a rock really nice. I would say, yeah. I mean, I think what's going to suffer the most from out of those four from a rock is probably the Woodford Double Oak. I think that you're going to lose some of the. I mean, that's going to be true of any of them, honestly. The cooler your whiskey is, the less you're going to get out of it flavor wise. But I mean, with that said, all of those have just a ton of flavor. So all those are great options. If you like drinking on a rock, then those are great options for that because they're so complex. There's so much going on there that I don't think any of them would be disappointing. But if you are drinking on a rock, then maybe go higher proof because it's going to stand up to it better. So maybe go rare breed or 1920. And I don't think you can go wrong with either one of them. Oh, and cool. Let's see here. Let me get to this first. Yeah. So Adam bought Blade & Bow, and I had not tried it yet because I'd heard like back and forth reviews. Some reviews were positive, others were just kind of so, and then others were like, this isn't very good. So I kept putting off buying Blade & Bow, and then Adam bought it and kind of surprised me. And so we were this was back last NBA season. We were just, sharing whiskeys and stuff and watching the finals. And he broke out the Blade & Bow. And right away, well, I can't say that. The first night, it was good. I wouldn't say it was great, but it was decent. And then it was the following Saturday, because we're doing the finals. And so I'm over there again. And man, did that bottle change in a week. It went from like a decent bourbon to just like nothing but sour oak. It was like almost the most sour oak I've ever had in a single bottle of bourbon. So I don't know what's going on at Blade & Bow. I can't imagine that people are tasting that and thinking that that's something to chase. I don't know. I feel like that a lot of people buy it because, oh, it's, Pappy juice supposedly or whatever. And maybe that's true. Maybe, they're getting some of the same stuff that, comes down the Pappy line or Weller or whatever the case. But I know one thing, and that is that the palate is not great. And the nose isn't good either. I don't know. I just can't imagine. What was funny is, so the first night Adam was saying that he's going to try and collect the keys. And then the second night we tried it and he was like, nope, not collecting the keys. It's not going to happen. Yeah. So, and that's kind of how I am with like the Blanton's thing. Buffalo Trace is the masters of marketing. So they have the stave that if you collect all the Blanton's letters, you can get the stave done by them. They got the special thing for Blade and Bow if you collect all the keys. And, I guess whatever, if that's what you're into, if you want to collect stuff like that, then, good on you. I wish the stuff inside the bottle was better instead of all these gimmicks. I don't know. I wish there was less marketing in every aspect of life, but especially whiskey. I think people get caught up in the marketing. And I was just talking to a guy on a Facebook forum earlier about the same thing, is that, people chase the Eagle Rares and the Buffalo Trace and all the Pappy stuff and the Weller line. And then there's just great stuff sitting on the shelf all the time that people are passing by because no one's talking about it. And that's really exactly the reason that I made the channel, because from my personal experience, I was seeing that no one's talking about these great bourbons and they're available all the time. So, occasionally I'll put out a Buffalo Trace product just because I know it's going to get views. But as you've kind of seen, those are generally not my favorites. I do not review them the most positively because I think there's a lot of hype and just kind of average bourbon in the bottle. So let me get to some of the comments here. I've been talking for a while. And thank you guys for joining. I really appreciate it. Otherwise, I'm just sitting here talking to myself. So OF 100 was fantastic, by the way. Yes. Glad you enjoyed it, AZ. I think that's another underrated bottle. I think basically the entire Old Forester line is underrated. I don't know why Old Forester isn't loved by everyone, because to me, if you want to talk about budget bourbons, I don't think anyone does it better than Old Forester. I would say the only competition is maybe Wild Turkey. Wild Turkey 101 is to me the only budgetish bourbon that can hang with the Old Foresters. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, because even early times was still an Old Forester product, and that was my favorite for a long time. And now, even though they say it hasn't, now they're saying that it hasn't changed, but my palate says otherwise. So Brown-Forman just puts out some of the best budget stuff available. So that's usually where I direct people if they're getting into whiskey and they're looking for budget stuff, so they're not spending a ton of money on something. The Old Forester line is great. All of it. The Old Forester 100, even the 86. If you want something kind of lighter, Old Forester Rye is great. A great entry rye. And then once you get into the Whiskey Row stuff, then you really get some excellent bourbons, and especially for the price. Let me get back to the comments here. This is going to be like, oh yes, referring to the Blade and Bow. Yeah, not as bad as Woodinville, but so what puts me off so much about Woodinville is it's so like chemically. It really does remind me. I didn't just say that in the review just for a laugh or whatever. It really reminds me of Woodstain. I can't imagine anyone enjoying it. Since I put that up, many people had negative comments about that. And I got into a pretty long discussion with a guy about it. And he ended up saying that basically he had found one great bottle at a bar and then went out and bought one himself and then had almost the identical experience to mine. So I guess it has something to do with just they're not very consistent. I don't know if it's the way they're doing their cuts in the distilling process. Not really sure, but Woodinville still holds the crown as the worst bourbon I've ever had. The only thing that could come close as far as palate wise would be like Southern Comfort. Like that was awful. Like, but just completely different awful. That's awful just because it's way too sweet. It's like sickeningly sweet, which I guess if that's what you're into, whatever. As Adam said, yeah, Blade and Bow was rough. It is. Yeah, crappy pappy for sure. I just want to taste bourbon. Yeah. Yeah, we all want that. Nobody wants wood stain and super sour oak and marketing. We just want to taste bourbon. Can we just do that and not be, I kind of relate the marketing around Buffalo Trace to like Nike or Budweiser. I mean, there's a lot of companies like that there's so much hype around these companies that it almost becomes like self-sustaining, that they're so hyped up and so many people are talking about them that they can just kind of coast on that hype. And so they don't really have to put out a great product. They just need to put out a decent product and people will just keep buying it. I think Budweiser is a terrible beer considering all the beers that are on the market right now, but you wouldn't know that by the numbers they're putting out. And same thing with Nike. Nike in general makes a terrible shoe. They're going to fall apart in a few months. And you're paying, $100+ for a Nike shoe. So I don't understand these phenomenons. I don't know how marketing gets us to these places, but it definitely does. And Buffalo Trace is kind of in that same category. It's just a lot of hype. Now, as I do have to caveat that with what Adam said here. E.H. Taylor, awesome, best thing for Buffalo Trace, definitely. Especially maybe any line, but definitely in the budget-ish range. E.H. Taylor Small Batch is my favorite budget thing for Buffalo Trace. That is a good bottle. Of course, I probably shouldn't say that because it's kind of underhyped right now, and I'd like it to stay that way because I can actually find it occasionally. I would take that over Eagle Rare, Buffalo Trace, Weller's, pretty much any day of the week. Yeah. Buffalo Trace plentiful right now, around 20. Yeah, regular Buffalo Trace is. It hasn't reached the level of hype of like Eagle Rare and some of the E.H. Taylor stuff, and definitely not the Weller's, and certainly not the Pappy stuff. And I think, if I had to rank them just kind of on the fly, I would say, like, especially in the budget line, I would go E.H. Taylor Small Batch, Buffalo Trace, then Eagle Rare, and then Weller Special Reserve in that order, from first to last. The Weller Special Reserve hype, I just can't even understand. I do not get it. Can't say I like it better than Turkey, but close. Yeah, but standard Buffalo Trace is good. It is a good bourbon. I don't want to undersell it, but it's just that, like, because it's related to Pappy kind of obscurely, I mean, it's the same company, it's just become like ridiculously sought after. And I don't even think it's the best thing in that price range. I think it's, probably top 5 in that price range, but I don't think it's the best. I didn't notice much of a change from Old Turkey. Oh, okay. I got you. At first I thought like you'd mistype. Yeah. No, I think that's one thing that's great about, I would say, Old Forester and Wild Turkey both, is that they're super consistent. I mean, they've been doing this for so long that they put out a good product every single time. It's not, like I was talking about earlier, how Woodinville seems to not be very consistent. Well, Wild Turkey and Old Forester are super, super consistent. I mean, the bottles vary, but I've never had a bad one. I've had some that were better than others, but none that were bad. And not even, I would say all of them were good. Not even just like kind of decent ones. All of them were good, and some were excellent, especially for the price. Let's see here. And buy that bottle because of the review. I know I'm kind of behind here, AZ. Which bottle were you referring to? Woodinville? Probably Woodinville. Because I was talking about that. I don't see how anyone enjoys that crap you had me try that night. Tastes like burnt wires. I'm trying to think what you're talking. Are you talking about Ardbeg, the peated scotch? I'm guessing that's what you're talking about. I know you really didn't like that. I'm guessing that's probably what you meant. I think there were Woodinville employees in your comments. Oh yeah, maybe so. Could be. I know we had like 5 viewers and we're down to 3 now. Maybe those were Woodinville employees. That's okay. I can handle it. Yeah, I agree with Adam. Yeah. So my first bottle of A.H. Taylor, I paid 60 for. And I would, even though I don't like to pay over MSRP, I would pay 60 for A.H. Taylor small batch anytime I could find it. I'd rather get it at 40, but I'm happy at 60 still. I think that's kind of the limit for me, but it's definitely a good bottle at 40, excellent bottle at 40, and still a good bottle at 60. I think at 60, there's other competition that kind of hurts it, like because then you're getting into the Old Forester 1910, 1920 range. Rare breed is just a few dollars more. You can even get rare breed rye around then. The whole Michter's baseline is like 45, 50. There's a lot of stuff once you get into the 60 range. So, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on A.H. Taylor. I love Mexican beer. They learned from this. Yes, they did. Now, not many people know that, AZ, but that is very true. Yes, they did learn from the Germans. Yet, Dos Equis actually, yeah, I'm sure you know because that's why you're saying it. Yeah, that was founded by a German, and that's true of a lot of them. Yeah, one thing. So, I mean, I'm a big Dos Equis fan. I think Modelo is pretty good, and then Corona is Tecate or Corona are kind of whatever. I could go without them. But especially Dos Equis Amber, that is, I mean, as far as a findable, don't have to go to a special store, it's pretty much available most places. That is a very findable beer that's good. Now, let's see here. Let me get down to the new stuff. Okay, so you were referring to Woodinville. What were you referring to here in this comment, AZ? It's so rare here, I've never tasted it. Do you mean the E.H. Taylor small batch? Or were you referring to one of the other Buffalo Trace items? So yes, Adam confirmed he was talking about the Ardbeg 10. Now, I know that that's an acquired taste. I personally like peated scotches, but it's something I definitely have to be in the mood for. I mean, I'm definitely a bourbon guy first, and that's generally my go-to is bourbons. But sometimes, especially if I'm like barbecuing or smoking, sometimes a nice peated scotch goes good with that. But I know that that's not for everybody, especially Ardbeg. Ardbeg is super peaty, and so I get that that's not everybody's thing. You were so hurt by my review. Yeah, the Woodinville guys. Yeah, Michter's. Okay, so the Michter's line is another one that I think is underrated. I wish my only complaint about Michter's is that I wish the proof was a little higher, but because of the way they age things, they put the water into the barrel. So the water that typically your typical distillery adds the water after the fact. Michter's adds the water into the barrel. So the whiskey is watered down as it's aging. So I think that helps Michter's quite a bit because then the water ends up taking on the flavor. But I do wish it was a little higher proof. But if you want like a nice kind of easy sipper, I think the Michter's line is phenomenal. My favorites are just the bourbon and then their rye. Their rye is one of my favorite budget-ish ryes available. And you can find it almost anywhere. It's generally like $45, and that is a great rye for $45. I think more people should be drinking Michter's because it's great. Victoria Mexican beer is my favorite. I don't know if I've ever had that. I've had Presidente, well, and all the other ones I've said. Don't know if I've had Victoria. Eagle Rare you can't get. Okay. I would say don't worry about it. I don't know. To me, it's kind of like Old Forester 1910 Light. It has a lot of the same flavor profile as a 1910, but Old Forester 1910 does every single thing better. They're similar proof, but the flavor that you get out of a 1910 is 1,000% higher. Eagle Rare is it's watered down. That's the way it tastes to me. It tastes like something that should have been 100 to 110 proof that Buffalo Trace watered down to make a larger profit. I think it's all right, but honestly, I would never chase it. No, now, I mean, this is my third. I have 2 bottles downstairs, as you see in the review, and that's actually my third. I had one other, and I don't get it. It's fine. Like if you want something really light, it's fine, but I don't know. It's especially since you like to drink on a rock, it would almost disappear. It's so watery to begin with that I think you would not enjoy the experience very much because it's just the ice is going to make it just disappear in the glass. It would be whiskey, but just barely. Eagle Rare is 100 on secondary there. I guess that's what you're referring to. That is insane. Never. I would never, ever pay 100 for Eagle Rare. Not even close. I have passed on it at MSRP, which is like 30 to 35. I just don't think it's that great. Yeah. Let's see here. I have a bottle of Johnny Black that tastes like it's Bad Life Decision. So, all right. So that is the peaty Scotch note that you're talking about. Now, I totally get that. There is kind of this, and pretty much all peated Scotches. Well, I mean, of course, you have Laphroaig, so I guess you enjoy that. So I guess some are more medicinal than others. But like Ardbeg 10, for instance, that Adam was referring to earlier, it has kind of this iodine note. But what I really enjoy about it is there's also, to me, what I get on it is like this smoked salmon. So you kind of get this smokiness, you get kind of this brininess, and then there's also kind of this oiliness. So that all kind of works together as like a smoked salmon, which is one of my favorite things. I love smoked salmon. So that's why I enjoy it, but I know that it's, as I said earlier, not for everybody. I don't know what Adam is saying LOL to here, but anyway, yes, I'm hilarious. Big in Texas, well worth it. What is Big in Texas? I'm sorry, AZM, coming up on your comments late. Real quick, I'll jump down. Smoked under a bed of burnt wires. Ardbeg 10 is not that bad. Anyway, AZ, I'm not sure what was big in Texas. We'll circle back to that. I won't pay 100 for any bourbon. So, oh, Victoria Beer is big in Texas. Okay, I got you. So on the not paying 100 for any bourbon, So I would say that I'm with you for the most part until you get into kind of harder to find, exclusive kind of barrel proof options. Like for instance, this. Like if I had to pay $100 for this, I would gladly do it. Even probably 110. And I think the same is true of the current ECBP Logic Rig barrel proof B521. I would pay over 100 for that. But I would say for the most part, I agree that there's not many in that category. You know, I would say if I could find an Elijah Craig single barrel or barrel proof, I'd probably pay over 100. Not Elijah Craig, I'm sorry. An E.H. Taylor single barrel or barrel proof, especially the barrel proof. I've had that 2-3 different times actually at bars, and that is a phenomenal whiskey. I mean, one of my favorite barrel proofs that I've ever had. 2 times I had it. It was absolutely exceptional. One of the best things I've ever drank. And the 3rd time, it was still very good, but not quite to that same tier. But I mean, these were at 3 different locations, and all 3 times it was great. So I think that there is a market for that, but I think for the most part, you're right, that there's not many bourbons that really require that price point. Yeah, Lafroig is good, but a little goes. Yeah, I'd say the same is true of Ardbeg. It's not something you're going to sip on all night. As I said, like it goes with certain, like peated scotches go with certain things, but it's just something you're going to have like a little bit of with dinner maybe, and then you're probably going to switch to something else. I know there's probably peated scotch guys that are like screaming if they see this in the future, but yeah, it's kind of a mood thing. Did that. Yeah. Yeah, as I said earlier, AZ, regular larceny, I think, is so overlooked and so underrated. I think it's a great bourbon, wheated bourbon, and that more people should be buying it. I keep a bottle all the time because it is so fantastic. And for anyone else that's watching this, I know these guys have probably seen it, but in my wheated whiskey war, larceny actually wins over Weller Special Reserve as well as Standard Maker's Mark. So yeah, that happened. It also beat Rebel 100. Yeah, larceny's great. Yeah, I agree with that too, Adam. Yeah, so that's another one. That's another one of those barrel proofs that if I found it and it were over 100, I'd buy it. Just because I love Old Forester so much. If I found, even though I know that a lot of the reviews out there say it drinks like it's coming out of a volcano, it's so hot. But if I found an Old Forester barrel proof, I would easily pay over 100 for it. I would probably even push somewhere around 150, 160 because I would love to have that bottle. I have the regular single barrel downstairs, and it's very good. But I'd love to have the barrel proof. That would be great to have in the collection. Do I have any Bulleit 10? I don't, and the reason I don't is because I've tried it 2 times at stores. They were doing like sample days or whatever, and I just wasn't really blown away. I thought it was good. It's just, it was kind of forgettable. But then again, Bulleit is not my favorite profile. I mean, of the budget line. Now, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just that when I think about the other things I could have instead, I usually lean more towards a Wild Turkey or an Old Forester or even Buffalo Trace. So, and so the other thing is that everything that is Bulleit is sourced. I don't know where Bulleit's sourcing from now. I think it's MGP now, but don't hold me to that. It's somewhere in Indiana. That's what my bottle says. It's coming from somewhere in Indiana, which is usually MGP. It was Four Roses for a while. Then it was Buffalo Trace before that. So it's always been a source product. Bulleit bottles it, but they do not distill it. So, and that's not necessarily a ding against them. It's just that, from my experience, generally what happens is when you're getting a source product is that you're paying about $10 more for it than you should. So in other words, if it's $20, it should be like 10, because they have to mark it up because they paid a certain amount for it to get it, and then they're having to go through their process of bottling it, and so you end up paying more for kind of less quality, I guess. It's not always true, but generally. That said, there are some really good source products out there. It's just that I always think in the back of my head, like, this should actually be $10 less. And sometimes it's a lot more than $10, honestly. Some of the source stuff is way, way marked up. I mean, like chicken cock stuff, I believe that is Jim Beam sourced, and it's like $150 a bottle. And then you can get like Jim Beam similar age statement stuff all day long at like a third the price. So why anybody's buying chicken cock, I don't know. I don't get it. I guess people just don't know that that's what's happening. Okay, regular Bulleit and Larceny are good summer bourbons. Yeah, I agree with that, because they're both kind of lighter. So, if you've had a long, hot day, you probably don't want something that's real heavy and not real hot. And so, yeah, Bulleit definitely fills that role, as does Larceny. There's a lot of them that are kind of like that. I think Maker's 46, which that review is coming soon, I think that also kind of fills that role really nicely. It's really balanced and just kind of on the lighter side, but really nice flavors. Yeah. Old Top, yeah, that's another good one. So yeah, that's a Jim Beam product that I don't understand all the hate that it gets. I think that it's a really good, solid budget bourbon. I know that some people said it tastes like dishwater. I don't really get that. I don't know where that's coming from, but to each their own, I guess. But I think Old Tub is great. Let's see here. I think they are starting to get their own juice. Might be wrong. Oh, Bulleit. Could be. Yeah, I don't know. So, see, because I live in Kentucky, I kind of get to travel around and view things like that. And so, as far as I know currently, Bulleit does not have their own distillery. Now, maybe that's changed. To be fair, I haven't drove around a whole lot since the pandemic. Well, I have some, but not as much as I'd like to. But as of like 6 months ago, Bulleit was definitely not distilling their own juice. So maybe that's changed. Could be. Hard to say. And no, not Fighting Cock. It's Chicken Cock. So Fighting Cock is a budget bourbon that's actually pretty decent. I think it's like 103 proof. And if you want like a good, like, it makes a good mixer for sure. But no, but Chicken Cock is, like I said, there's something like 150 a bottle, and yeah, I don't really get it, because it's, as far as I know, it's just sourced Jim Beam. I got you. Well, so AZ, I started the same way. 46 being on your list there, working my way up to the expensive stuff. So I started the same way. I started with very budget stuff. And I learned to really appreciate some of the budget stuff, because you can get some really excellent stuff for like under 20 bucks. I mean, I still say it's right here. It's right here every day. This bottle. I have one beside me all the time. That is such a great bottle. And it's like, I mean, the big one is like maybe 25, 27. And then the 750 is like $17. Yeah, there's no reason to spend a ton of money on bourbon if you're on a tight budget. There's so many great bourbons that are especially under $30. Under $30, there's such a huge selection of great stuff that, yeah, I don't know why people have to feel like they have to spend, $50 plus, $100 plus to get a good bourbon. You don't. Yeah, I would agree, AZ. Regular Makers is just okay. Regular Makers is not my favorite at all. As I said earlier, it came in last, I believe, in my weeded whiskey war. It just, there's just not enough going on there to me. Yeah, it's all right. I think 46 is many steps above that. I don't know what you wowed. Sorry, I'm reading it late. Bolt Distillery is up next to Buffalo Trace. So, Adam, on that, so there is a building there. That's true, but now maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but as far as I know, it's not actually a distillery. It's more of like a gift shop kind of thing. They have bottles there because they bottle it. There is a bottling facility there, but I don't believe they have rick houses and a proper distillery. Now, like I said, things may have changed. Not sure. Can't say 100%, but I don't believe that Bulleit distills their own stuff because I bought a bottle pretty recently. I mean, 6 months ago, and it says it's distilled in Indiana. Benchmark, too good. Bottle, $8. Yes, for sure. If you're really on a budget and you need a decent bourbon, Benchmark is awesome. And this little guy here, which I've almost killed, Adam actually found this for me because this was hard to find in kind of central Kentucky, but now it's becoming more available. And I mean, you know, I'm not going to like rave about it like it's the greatest thing ever, but if you want a decent barrel proof, this guy right here is pretty awesome. As you can see, it's nearly gone. Yep. Sorry, AZ, again, I'm behind. So I don't know what you woed, and I don't know, wait, what bottle was than. I think he meant that. So I don't know what you're referring to. Sorry. Yes, the bottle I held up was Evan Williams Bottle and Bond. Yes, it was, and it is amazing for $17 for a 750. I know that Matt Porter from ADHD Whiskey, I know he doesn't like it, but that's okay. I still like Matt. He's a good guy. I just don't agree with him on his decisions in life. No, I mean, you know, everybody likes different stuff. I would say, though, that in the bourbon community, I would say most people would agree that Evan Williams Bottle and Bond is an excellent budget bourbon. You know, everybody's different, but yeah, this is Old Faithful right here. This one right here, I don't even know what bottle number this is. Probably 30. I don't know. A lot. I go through one probably once every month and a half to 2 months, something like that. Yeah. So, and I've been drinking whiskey pretty steadily for about 3 years. So you can do the math on that and figure out how many I've had. But yeah, that's an excellent bottle. I mean, you know, that's kind of just my come home, have a drink kind of bottle, because I try and not tap into my more expensive stuff just on regular days. I try and save those for reviews and things like that, comparisons. Yeah, but if I need to come home and just sip on, excuse me, if I need to come home and sip on something, it's usually Evan Williams Bottle and Bond. I kind of rotate through a few. Old Forester 100 proof has definitely been in that rotation many, many times. Wild Turkey 101 has been in there. Larceny, Early Times Bottle and Bond. Yeah, those have kind of just been in a cycle, and those are my dailies. Or, you know, not necessarily. Daily is a word that we use a lot that doesn't really mean that. So ones you drink often, I guess is probably a better term. So let's see here. I got that. Yeah, 150 for chicken cock. Yeah, I don't understand it. I don't know why people are paying that kind of money for it. But that's true of a lot of source stuff. Actually, Fred Minnick did a whole piece on this, just talking about source bourbons. Now you got me in the mood for it, so I'm going to pour myself a little bit here. But yeah, I think that source bourbon can be a good thing. I think that in some ways it has kind of, I don't know, it's certainly expanded the bourbon community because different distillers are doing different things, the way they're aging, things like that. Those can be kind of cool and interesting, the way that somebody can take the same juice and age it differently, or maybe do other like finishing things with it. I mean, Bardstown is doing phenomenal stuff with sourced juice. I mean, Bardstown has put out some of my, especially kind of their distillery only offerings, which I still rave all the time about the Pfeiffer Pavitt XO. I know that not everybody likes finished bourbons, but that is a great bottle. And they've done several like that are just excellent. So, I mean, source stuff can be cool. It's just that it depends on how the distillery that gets it is using it. If they're just kind of bottling it as is, then usually you're just paying a markup for not much of anything. Whereas other times, source stuff can be really cool because the distillery's gotten that juice and they've aged it kind of a certain way or done interesting things with it, and then you get like a really cool end product. But not always the case, unfortunately. Okay, I found it at Total Wines, but only had the handle. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I think if you're after like a daily drinker, or however often you drink, it's hard to beat Evan Williams Bottle and Bond. It's a good one. Okay, I see. Gotcha. Like you said, the big guys have consistency and better pricing. Yeah, I mean, I think that there's small distilleries that are accomplishing that. It's just that I don't think there is many. Because to be fair, I've had inconsistency from some of the big guys too. It's just that it depends on the distillery. I think that as far as consistency goes, if we're scoring it just that way solely, I would say it's a toss-up for me between Old Forester and Wild Turkey. I would say Wild Turkey is probably the most consistent. I mean, the profile of Wild Turkey 101 is so, I mean, they just nail it every time. It's almost impressive because when you consider, all of the factors that go into making a bourbon, I mean, the weather changes, just slight minute changes in your mash bill could affect your flavor, the way you do your cuts, how long it's aged. There's so many factors, and the fact that Jimmy and Eddie over at Wild Turkey have been able to just keep it so consistent all these years is amazing to me, because it's such a precise science that they have over there. I'm always impressed by Wild Turkey. They are exactly, water changes, everything changes, but Wild Turkey doesn't. I mean, it does. I mean, everything changes. You can't, but they are really, really consistent. And plus, I mean, I kind of like idolize Jimmy because he is just like the coolest old Southern gentleman. I hope to meet him in person someday. I've watched, tons of interviews and stuff, but that's my guy. He is like the king of bourbon to me. Commandante Lou. Hey, what's up, man? It's been a while. So we got you over from Fun with Whiskey. Yeah, Charles couldn't make it tonight. He is busy doing other stuff, but glad you could join us. Very cool. Yeah. So Makers is consistent. I will give them that. It's just that I'm not a huge fan of standard Makers. Now, as I was saying earlier, Makers 46 to me is a whole different animal, and I love that bottle. I think it's absolutely phenomenal and way, way too overlooked. Hey, the dog is being a jerk. Hey, stop it. But yeah, Makers 46 is great. I don't know if you can see him. He's right there. He's clawing at the carpet because he wants me to take him outside, but he's fine. Anyway, yeah, Makers 46 is awesome. I don't know why it doesn't get talked about more. I think it gets overlooked way, way too much. Yeah, and that review is coming. Let's see here. I'm trying to think about my schedule. So that review should be not this Saturday, but next Saturday, Makers 46, because we're doing all of the kind of $30-ish bottles are coming very soon. So, Commandante Lou, I'll just kind of rehash for you. So, I did kind of a store haul earlier. So, these are things I've picked up recently: Redwood Empire, Pipe Dream, and what is this? Lost Monarch? Yeah. So, got those pretty recently in the last week or so. Also, got this High West Campfire, which is a blend of rye, bourbon, and Scotch, peated Scotch specifically. That's pretty cool. And then also got this Larceny Barrel Proof B521. So all those reviews will be coming soon. Larceny will be next Saturday. Redwood Empire's Pipe Dream Wednesday, and more stuff in the future. I think haven't decided what the following Wednesday will be, but and then as I said, Makers 46 will be very soon, next week or two. Real quick, going through the comments here. I heard Walter he uses limestone water, and Old Forester used chlorinated water. Possibly, so back in the day, AZ, everybody used spring water. The problem is, and see, in Kentucky, all of that means limestone water. So any spring is coming through limestone in Kentucky. But nowadays, I can't really speak to how different distilleries are doing it now. I would imagine that because of pollution, unfortunately, it's probably becoming, I don't know, dangerous, but difficult to use spring water. Of course, I'm sure there's processes we have to clean it and all that kind of stuff. Greetings, Commandante. Indeed, yeah. 46 is a beast, absolutely. Hanging AZ, good evening. And then how about the Brothers Bond? Any info? I don't know anything about that, AC. Sorry. Are you talking about Bro Brothers? Not sure. Let me Google. Let's see here. Let's see what Google has to say. Brothers Bond. Maybe I've seen it and I just don't remember. I'm not picturing it in my head, though. Google. Okay, yeah, definitely. I can say definitively now, I don't know anything about this. If it helps at all, there are quite a few good reviews, but never had it myself, which is, I mean, not surprising. There are so many bourbons right now, it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, there's new stuff every single time I go to the store. There's something new. I don't know if, I'm guessing that there's just so many people sourcing right now because everybody is getting into bourbon. And so because of that, every company that can possibly source bourbon is sourcing it, which kind of sucks because I think what it's leading to is shortages of good bourbon for the distilleries that need it. I think that like places like Jim Beam and MGP, Dickel. They're sourcing so much stuff. I hope that they're saving the best stuff for themselves, because I feel like they know best what to do with it. So yeah. And okay, so celebrity bourbon, guys from Vampire Show. Well, now I'm definitely lost. So I don't know these celebrities. I don't know of any vampire shows. I don't watch any vampire shows. So yeah, I can't really help you much. I would say, in general, I'm not a huge fan of celebrity bourbons. And it's kind of like the same reason, like I was talking about earlier about source stuff. You end up paying a markup for the name. I think the only thing that, although it was true, I think the only one that's not true of so much now is Long Branch from Wild Turkey. I think that actually is a really good bourbon, even though Matthew McConaughey's name is on it. The price has dropped some now. So when it was around the 45 price, I think you're paying the celebrity markup. But now that it's kind of in the 30 to 35, at least here locally, I think that at that price range, it competes pretty well. And I think it's actually worth that. But in general, my thought on celebrity whiskeys is that you are overpaying for kind of subpar juice. I think if you knock, depending on the bottle price to begin with, if you knock $10, $20 off of that, that's probably what it should have been. So like, I got that Metallica blackened, and this was a special pick for Kroger exclusive. It was their barrel proof. I never had a desire to get the regular blackened, but I'm a big Metallica fan, and I always love barrel proof stuff. So I picked it up, and it was okay. The review will be coming shortly, but in general, I don't know. I guess what I appreciate about Long Branch is that McConaughey was actually involved. It wasn't just like, because most celebrities, it's kind of like doing a barrel pick. So, they just go to the distillery picks out a few barrels for them, they sample them, and then the celebrity says, okay, I like this, and then they bottle that, and they put their name on it. And they're not really involved at all in the process. Whereas McConaughey was actually involved. He had ideas that he wanted to incorporate. He actually was involved in the kind of getting the flavor profile the way he wanted it. And so it's not like your standard celebrity bourbon. I don't know that really gives it a whole lot more prestige, but I think that what Wild Turkey did with Long Branch is quite a bit more interesting than most celebrity bourbons. That's my thought on it. Saw a bottle of Long Branch for 30 days. Okay, cool. Good. I'm glad that price is spreading, because that's what we've been seeing here in Kentucky. So I'm glad that that's spreading more nationwide, because I think that's where it should be. I think that's where it always should have been. I think 45 was way too high for it. Got some Great Northern, might be great, might be rot gut. We'll find out tomorrow. But yeah, I'm not familiar with that, Commandante Lou. But as I said just a few minutes ago, there's so many bourbons out right now that I'm always seeing new stuff. So I hope it goes good for you. Let me know. Let us all know what you think about it. Yeah, and that's kind of my favorite part of running a whiskey channel, is getting to talk to everybody, hearing your comments, seeing what you guys are experiencing, because then it's kind of like shared group knowledge. We're all kind of figuring out what's worth the money we're spending and what's not. And, I think you can kind of get some of that on Facebook or Reddit, but unfortunately, what I find a lot on there is that people just hunt Buffalo Trace stuff. And so you'll have like 40 Blanton's posts or, Eagle Rare or whatever, and very few people post other stuff. It's, maybe 1 in 10 is not a Buffalo Trace product. So it kind of gets old. Hang on, AZ. I'm not sure what were you saying I like it too Long Branch? I guess so. That's following your previous comment. So I'm assuming that's what you meant. Yeah, exactly. Wild Turkey does not put their name on crap, for sure. Um, yeah, I mean, I think, as I was talking about earlier, I think Jimmy and Eddie really, I mean, Jimmy is, as far as I can tell, a perfectionist when it comes to, I mean, the guy loves bourbon. You can tell anytime and he talks about it. I've never seen anybody, because, I mean, a lot of guys, even, I mean, I guess the No's are kind of in that same category, Jim Beam guys. But I mean, a lot of people enjoy bourbon, but I mean, Jimmy, it's his life. I mean, he's there all the time because he loves it so much. It's absolutely his passion, and you can tell. You can tell by the product that you get. So I wish we could see more of that. I think because bourbon is so popular right now, it's become more business minded, and I really appreciate the just kind of old schoolness of Jimmy, and it's all about the whiskey. That's all it's ever going to be about. He doesn't care about marketing that much. He's just going to keep making a kick-ass product, and that's what it's going to be. News said there might be a booze shortage. Stock. Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, we are seeing shortages of everything. I mean, I'm sure you guys are too. Man, I don't know where we're headed, folks. It doesn't look good. I know that. I mean, nothing is going in a positive direction. Whether we're talking about gas prices or, boats stuck out in the ocean, or, truck drivers. There's a shortage of truck drivers, and so stuff isn't getting shipped properly because of that. No matter really what aspect, there's shortages of everything everywhere because people aren't working, so the products aren't getting moved, or they're not getting made. Man, it's a mess. Yeah. Yeah, as Commandante Lou said, yeah, shortage of everything now. Exactly. I mean, who would have thought that if you paid people to stay home, they don't go to work? Yeah. Who could have foreseen that coming? I don't know, man. Yeah. I don't worry about the toilet paper as much as the whiskey, honestly. If worst comes to worst, you can always poop in the backyard and wash your butt off with a hose. But I don't have the ability to make bourbon. So that's more concerning. And honestly, all the other stuff I was just kind of going over is way, way more concerning. Man, I don't know. It's just, I mean, if of course, I guess Commandante and Hanging AZ, you guys have all seen my thoughts in most of these things. I mean, my faith is not in men by any means or this government. Yeah, I don't expect things to get better, unfortunately, as much as I would like to. Well, that's not even true. Yeah, it's been foretold. I'll leave it at that. I won't get biblical on you guys. Locally, there's Facebook groups that track Colonel Taylor availability. Once it's available, the stores get sold out. Yeah, I would say I would say that kind of thing is happening pretty much everywhere. It's that's the most annoying thing about the bourbon game, is that what irritates me most about it is that guys are buying it up just to buy it up. They're not drinking it. They're not even selling it. They're just hoarding it. And it's to create this false economy in the bourbon world, because it's not on the shelf, it's got to be great and it's sought after. And so then all the taters are trying to chase these bottles, and that drives the price up even more because they are willing to pay higher and higher prices. And so then, like AZ was saying earlier, then you're paying $100+ for Eagle Rare. And I'm just like, why? Why are you doing that? When there's so many things that are on the shelf that just kick the crap out of it, in my opinion. Pooping hose. Yeah. Now, I say that from experience, AC. I've done a lot of of course, this wasn't a hose, but I've done a lot of outdoor, really backwoods camping, really roughing it. And, you don't always have toilet paper. That's what it is. So you find other ways to get clean. And there's plenty of ways. So, you don't have to have toilet paper. It's nice. We all enjoy it, but we can certainly live without it. There's other things, though, that we're lacking right now that could cause major, major problems in society if we don't get them corrected soon. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Things are not looking great. Yep, false idols and temples, for sure. I'm going to try and tread lightly here because I know things are so divided right now. There's kind of, now I'm not putting you guys in this category. I think you guys are above that. But, especially on the news and other media outlets, it's like you're either on one side or the other. I don't think that's where most of the population falls, but it's really disappointing it's always kind of been like that, but it's just getting more and more polarized. And my personal thought is this, that, I don't like Biden, but, I don't know if anybody really liked Biden. I think that everybody that voted for Biden, I think they just wanted to get Trump out of office. I think that was the big motivation. I don't think they really cared who it was. And, in some aspects, I understand that because I can't say that I liked Trump. I think he's a very odd individual. That said, I think that he had some good ideas that just never came to fruition because of how our political system works. You need more than 4 years to make things like tariffs and those kind of things happen. You can't do it in that short a period of time, especially since it didn't even have 4 years to work. I think it was more like 2. So, the whole issue really comes down to the fact that our political system is flawed. Just the way that it functions is kind of haphazard and self-defeating. You can't run a government that way, because if you keep switching through these political parties, then the one just keeps undoing the thing that the other did, and so it's just this back and forth kind of tug of war thing that we see, and so no progress really gets made. It's just it's kind of sad to watch, but it's also, if you are a Bible reader, then you should expect this. I'll just kind of leave it there. We weren't supposed to be doing this. We were not ever supposed to self-govern. So, that's why it's not working. Anyway, back to bourbon. Bourbon has been turned into baby. Yeah, it's about that bad. Yeah, when a stuffed animal can sell for $100 or whatever, yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah, it's nearly that bad. It's just insane what people are paying for bourbon these days. I don't get it. Especially like the budget stuff that's now sky high is like, I said it earlier, Weller Special Reserve being anything but MSRP is stupid. It's not that great of a bottle. I think more people need to do blind tastings so that they can be honest with themselves, and instead of, because I was having this conversation with a guy on Facebook earlier, is that your brain can trick you into enjoying a thing. Studies have been done that show that if you tell a person, for instance, that a wine is expensive, they're more likely to enjoy it. Whereas if you tell somebody that the wine is cheap, they're less likely to enjoy it. So it's all mental. But if you start doing blind tastings, then you find out what you actually like, because you can't cheat it. If you pour 4 glasses of bourbon or whatever it is that you drink, and then you blind taste them, then you're gonna pick the thing that you like tasting the best. There's no way you can't, because there's no attachment to any bottles or anything. And so I think a lot more people in the bourbon and whiskey communities need to start doing that and stop chasing hype. Just no need to do it. There's plenty of great stuff out there. Matt Walsh had a good take on Trump. He ran out of the best people and was surrounded by butt kissers. Yeah, so here's the thing about Trump is he is obviously a successful businessman. Everybody knows that. A big deal was made about his bankruptcies, but if you know anything about business, you know that bankruptcy is a means to an end. There's all kinds of successful companies that claim bankruptcy on either parts of their organizations or entirety, and then they keep making tons of money. So, it's just that I feel like most Americans don't know that, and so the media took that and ran with it. Now, with that said, my thought on that is that that's a corrupt way of doing business, because it's taking advantage of a system that's there for businesses that are actually in trouble. But and it's not just Trump. I mean, many, as I was just saying, all kinds of big businesses do that. So it's not like Trump is exclusively bad for that. It's just that he understands the game, and so he plays it well. But I think if you look at the country as a business, which Trump did, then he could have been successful. I think there was just so many other things that were, well, when I say successful, I mean that he could have run a good economy. And he was for a while, until Corona came along. But I think that humans need more than a good economy. I think that's just one aspect of our lives that leads to happiness. And so that's why, again, I don't think that Trump is the answer. I don't think that Biden is the answer. I don't think anybody that follows them is the answer. I think they're all, they're doing I don't even know if they're doing the best they can. They're doing something. Our political system is interesting. Blind bourbon reviews are the best. I agree. I mean, that's especially early on in my kind of bourbon journey, I guess you'd call it, whatever you want to call it. That's what I started doing because I wanted to figure out what I actually enjoyed. Because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to do that? So instead of paying for hype or paying for expensive bottles, I just started doing blinds. I started, finding things that were of similar price range, similar proofs. I just pour 4 glasses, and that just kind of became my evening thing for a while. I did that for like 6 months. Maybe every other day or so, I just do a blind flight of 4 different bourbons. And if you do that enough, then it helps you do a lot of things, actually. So not only do you narrow down what you actually like, but also it helps to train your palate to pick out kind of different nuances of the bourbons. You kind of start figuring out palate profiles of, say, Old Forester or Wild Turkey or, Buffalo Trace. It helps, your nosing notes. You start becoming more acute as to what those are because you're comparing different ones back to back. You're starting to see the differences, the different flavor profiles, the different notes you're picking up. And so if you're really into whiskey, I think blind tasting is great, especially when you're starting out. It helps you do a lot of things better. And most importantly, helps you find bourbon you really like. Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I think that I don't even think that's exclusive to Trump. I think that's true of all politicians. It's because, I mean, if we're being honest, that's what it is. It's a popularity contest on the largest scale. It's like class president at school, just on a much bigger scale. I mean, if we're really being honest, and if Americans across the board were honest, most people don't know what the politician they're voting for. They don't know their politics. They have no idea. They don't know. I would say that 99% of voters, they don't know Biden's stance on China. They don't know what his stances were on oil or the economy or taxes or racism or any of those things, because nobody cared. And they still don't care. And they're not going to start caring. That's exactly the problem with the voting system, is that no one is researching anything. And so you get what we have. Just kind of mindless beings voting for other beings that aren't really great at their job. So, yeah. Yep. So, that's how I started really, really loving Wild Turkey 101, is blind flight fights. I mean, when I first kind of got into whiskey, like seriously, like about 3 years ago now, so these were the four I compared: Old Forester 100, Edward Williams Black Label, Buffalo Trace, and Wild Turkey 101. And I did them multiple times. And Wild Turkey 101 and Old Forester 100 proof would just switch places for first, depending on kind of the mood I was in or whatever. And so that told me pretty quickly what I actually enjoyed. And Buffalo Trace is good. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just that I think the other two are better. And I think that if more people did that, they would probably find the same thing. It's just, Buffalo Trace that's like the standard. I mean, I was on Facebook earlier and somebody said, "Hey, I'm new to bourbon. What should I try first?" And like 5 of the responses right off the bat were Buffalo Trace. And then, that's fine, whatever. It's a decent place to start. It's not bad, but man, there's a lot else out there that's just getting overlooked. Commentate Lou, yes, something. Not the best, definitely not well thought out, just something. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's just I can't, like when I'm watching, because I watch tons of political stuff on YouTube. And what I mean, I'm not talking about like media stuff. I mean like actually what's going on in the House and Senate. And it's super boring stuff, but that's where our laws are actually made. That's where things are decided on. That's where court justices are decided on. That's where, these are the people that are making our laws. And so if you watch the way that they talk and the way that they discuss things with each other, the way they answer questions, if you do that for any period of time, you're going to lose faith in our government pretty quickly, and it's important that you watch both sides. Because if you just watch, the positive from, say, if you watch the Republicans attacking Democrats and you think, well, the Republicans know everything. And if you watch the Democrats doing the same thing, attacking Republicans, then you think, oh, well, the Republicans are idiots. So you need to watch both sides when they're being questioned. And then you get a pretty good feel of what's actually going on up in D.C. And then you start to see that it's kind of all a joke. I don't know. It's kind of like I don't know how to even describe it. It's like a well thought out play on the biggest scale, but not really for entertainment. I don't know. I can't imagine viewing that for any period of time and thinking that your vote is actually doing something. I guess that's the conclusion I've basically come to. I've always imagined Trump tweeting from the Oval Office. To be fair, that's probably true, AZ. I would have to imagine that probably happened a couple times. You're just sitting there dropping one. He's like, you know what? I got this thought in my head. Let's send that out. There you go. Yes. Everybody start bourbon prepping. I started mine a while ago. So, yeah, start bourbon prepping. It's a good idea. To be fair, so I am a bit of a prepper. I'm not going to go into detail as to what my level of prepping is, but I have a prepper mindset. And not joking at all, whiskey, especially high proof whiskey, is an excellent bargaining chip should things hit the fan. For multiple reasons. One, people obviously enjoy drinking it, and in stressful situations, people tend to fall back on vices. And so if the economy is falling apart and our society is falling apart, people will want to drink. In fact, even right now, it hasn't even fallen apart completely, and alcohol consumption is through the roof compared to 2 years ago. So yes, stock up on any kind of alcohol, but it's a whiskey channel, so stock up on whiskey. And also, obviously, if you get high enough proof stuff, you can use it as an antiseptic. So, multi-purpose. I don't think presidents should tweet. I'm with you. Regardless of my thoughts on either political party, you're right. I don't think presidents should tweet. It's a good point. Yeah. It's probably not the best. I think Twitter is just a toxic place that everyone should avoid. It's kind of like, if you think about what's on Twitter, so it's porn and child porn and people being racist and just hyperbolic and aggressive and just, it's like the worst of humanity all in one place. It's certainly not a place that the president of a country should be putting his thoughts in. It's kind of like if you went to like the worst part of the ghetto and started trying to proclaim how you're going to run the country there. Like, there's like hookers and drug dealers, and then there's President Trump telling everybody his thoughts on how to run the country. It's a weird setting for, I don't know. You should have subbed to hit Twitter feed. Yeah, I agree, Commandante Lou. Yes, the government does not determine our lives. Absolutely. I feel bad for anybody that feels like it does. Like, because if we're honest, like, how much does it really affect us? Sure, taxes change, all that kind of stuff changes, but if you're really honest about it, it doesn't affect your day, especially if you just turn off the news. Just turn off the news. If you were completely unaware of what was going on, then, we need to be somewhat aware right now because of everything that's going on. But I feel bad for the people that are watching news 24/7 because, yeah, it just stresses them out. I can't imagine doing that. Bullets and bourbon, yes. All good for trading. I don't tweet. Yeah, I don't either. I don't have any desire to. On the candidates for Trump. I've seen many of his tweets, Commandante Lou. He's a different individual. And I don't mean that really in a negative way. It's just like, I don't know, he's just different. Like he thinks differently than most people I've ever met. The way he approaches the world is strange to me, and not necessarily in a bad way. He's very different. I don't know. Like even the way he talks is strange. Like he doesn't talk like anybody else. He's something, but he's successful, and there's a lot of people that love him. Internet was supposed to be Renaissance, but mostly got yeah. Yep. That's yeah. So, it was at first. At first, it was kind of revolutionary, a renaissance, but then now, like you said, it's mainly just porn and terrible things. Like even stuff that shouldn't be terrible things is terrible things. Like the news used to be news. I think all you guys are kind of around my age, so it used to be just like an hour, and then that was it. But now we have 24-hour news stations, so they just have to make crap up to keep things entertaining, or just put more spin on it and make it more hyperbolic and explosive and exaggerated. So that's what really drives me crazy about the news now, is that there's so much fear mongering and just, people that watch news all day long are just scared out of their minds. Like they don't even know. There's people wearing 3 masks and, people waiting for the 4th shot to come along. And I can't, I don't even understand these people. I get that we want to be safe. And I understand that we need to be cautious because, this is a novel virus and all that good stuff. But calm down, people. There are many things killing many, many more people all the time that doesn't make the news. And so we don't talk about it. But, this does. And so now we have to be scared to death of it. It's just, I've never seen anything like it. It's amazing to me. The way, I think what's most surprising about the pandemic, which I hate even using that word because it makes it sound scarier than it is. I think what's most surprising is the way people have reacted. I did not expect, I guess I should have, based on the weak mentalities of most people, but I did not expect people to freak out at this level. But, of course, when you have the death ticker running 24/7 for a year straight, that probably will do it. I just, it's amazing to me. It really is amazing to me the way people have reacted to this. Inflation might be a bit. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Screenshots and tweets, dear gold. I'm sure. Like I said, the guy is he's kind of like an insane genius. Because he says things that get exactly the reaction that he wanted, but the way he does it is hilarious to me. I don't know. He's something. He is entertaining. He is definitely entertaining. There's no doubt about that. I don't know if that was, I can't say that was good for the country as a whole, but he was entertaining. Yeah. I'm spelling while drinking. I'm reading while drinking. Also not good. 24-hour news cycle. I grew up with morning news and evening news. And then we got cable. Yep. Yeah, same here. I remember, this was years ago when CNN wasn't insanity. I remember my parents watched the evening news on CNN every night. And, this was 30 plus years ago. And then, back then it was basically just the news, just these are the things that happened today. And that was it. And man, comparing that to CNN now, it's like night and day. So I don't know if you guys have seen the back and forth between Joe Rogan and CNN, how they were accusing him of taking horse vaccine, which it's just, I swear to God. There's so many medicines that we give to animals that are also have human applications. And that's what Joe Rogan was doing. He was taking a drug that is for humans that also could be used on horses. But CNN spun it like he's taking like horse drugs. Man. And then he called him out for it. And then Don Lemon just like doubles down on like, nope, Joe Rogan loves horse medicine. Just, I don't know, man. It's just, the world is so insane right now. That's, whiskey. All right. Thank you, whiskey. I'm going to get to that in just a second, Lou. We're going to talk about that. Yeah, nobody even talking about the national debt. So here's the thing, is that I think the problem, AZ, is that nobody understands how economics work. And it's really simple. I saw this really great economics teacher years ago, and he used a very simple example. So if you have $10 and you have 10 coconuts to buy those, $10 to buy those 10 coconuts. Well, if you then decide you're going to make those $10 into $30, well, then you have to also increase the price of the coconut. Otherwise, the person getting the dollar for the coconut isn't getting a fair share of the monetary system. So they have to increase the price of the coconut to meet the uptick and the amount of money available in the society. And that's exactly how economics works. So when you increase the amount of money that's in the economic system, then everything has to go up with it to meet that new level of, money. It's really simple. It's just that most people have no idea how it works. And so when they see the government giving out checks to them, they're like, all right, great, free money. Nope. No, it's not. It is not free money. You're going to pay for it later. There's no way around it. You cannot. You see that the problem is that inflation doesn't happen immediately. It's like some economists have likened it to like a waterfall. So it starts slow, but then once it starts going, then you can't stop it, and then it just it becomes more and more and more. And I wish that, again, it's the same thing with politics. It's just that so many Americans are so undereducated as to how these things work that when they get the check in the mail, they think it's the best thing that's ever happened to them because they don't understand what the consequences of that are. And so they can't even comprehend what $5 trillion more in the national debt means for them. What it means is bad things, but they don't know that. So yeah, it's just that's probably the most frustrating thing about our society right now is that everybody's undereducated about the things that are on the news, and so they have no idea how to interpret what they're seeing. Back in the day, if they ran an opinion piece, they had to run. Yeah, exactly. That's not happening anymore. That's for sure. No one's running disclaimers that this is their opinion. I can tell with great honesty that Great Northern Whiskey is definitely whiskey flavored whiskey. All right, so come down to I'm trying to figure out, is that a good thing? Are you saying it's just kind of middle of the road whiskey flavors, or do you mean that it's like whiskey-ish? Is it like Fireball or Southern Comfort? It's like kind of around the whiskeys, but not really whiskey. Rogan's coat sure looks shiny. Yeah, for real, man. The thing is like when Don Lemon doubled down on that whole thing, I could not believe he did that. Because it's like, do you know who your enemy is? Don Lemon, who is like the softest dude, on TV. Well, no, that's that other guy on CNN probably takes that title. But anyway, Don Lemon is going to take on Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan does jujitsu for fun and hunts giant animals for his food. This is the guy you're taking on. You're going to take on, this guy is no joke. This guy is like one of the most disciplined humans on the planet, and you're going to take him on. You're not even a good journalist, and you're going to take on Joe Rogan. Good luck, buddy. Man, just stupidity at the highest level. I mean, that's why Joe Rogan said what he said. He said, "This dumb MF," talking about Don Lemon, because he is. You have to be dumb to take on Joe Rogan, especially if you're lying. What do you really expect from CNN? For sure, man. Just, I swear, man. The media is just such a joke these days, and you know, and Fox isn't much better. So I just want to clear that up. That I've been picking on CNN because of recent stories, but I mean, Fox has its moments as well. It's just, it's almost like it's the same thing as, because they're representing the two parties. So they're equally as much of a joke as our current two parties in the United States. So whiskey that tastes like whiskey. Yes. Oh, I went too far. That's true. It's true. Yeah, that's a good point, Commandante. I did not factor in cultural appropriation. Yeah, so I don't know how that affects the value of the dollar, since we appropriated it from, I don't know what island originally, Hawaii maybe. So the Hawaiians, I don't know. I swear, man, our society is just so nuts right now. Northern coconuts are selling. AZ, I'm pretty sure you're making a Monty Python reference there. Is that what you're doing? Okay, cool. Gift whiskey is the best, for sure. You're blessed by the whiskey gods. Yeah, there you go. That's the guy I was trying to think of. Stelter. Man, that guy. And like, if you needed a picture next to beta male, it's that dude. And then, you know, like Joe Rogan is alpha male and Stelter is definitely beta male. Like, that guy is such a soft piece of crap turd. I swear to God, like how that guy has a show. He is frustrating to watch. I mean, I don't like Don Lemon either, but Stelter is just like, like his softness irritates me because he's just human trash. Like, I can't even, he pisses me off endlessly. Okay, I got you. I mean that I appreciate whiskey flavor, but can't give you an in-depth analysis of the flavor profile because whiskey. Gotcha. Yeah. So, I mean, to be fair, Commandante, so Old Scout was kind of that for me. I don't know if you saw that review recently. I mean, because Old Scout is just like middle of the road bourbon flavors. But with that said, I think it does really well. It's just like, you know, if you had to, you know, like if somebody had never tried bourbon, and they're like, what's bourbon taste like? Just like, drink this, because that tastes like bourbon. And so, yeah, I get that. Like, what's it taste like? Tastes like whiskey. This is what whiskey tastes like. Oh, man. Yeah, don't even get me started on the ASU thing, man. You know, I tell you guys, I don't know how we got to this point. Like, I don't know. It's like we're going back to segregation. And what's crazy to me is that people want it. Is that they want to be segregated. Not everybody, but there are a group of people that like want segregation all over again, which is insane to me because I can't believe that there are a select group of black people that are pushing for segregation again. Like, this is what you fought for decades, and now you want it back? It's mind-blowing that that's what's happening. I like, if Martin Luther King were still alive, he would just slap the crap out of these stupid kids. I can't even understand what they're even trying to get to. I mean, unless you just want people to hate you. If you're trying to get more people to hate you, then success. For real, man. So I'm pushing 40 myself. Everybody else is only 35. Yeah, man. Yeah, that guy, like, I would pay all of the money I have to see Joe Rogan just beat the crap out of Stelter. I probably shouldn't say that on the internet. YouTube will probably come after me for that, but that would be hilarious. It would be unfair in every aspect, but it would be hilarious to watch. He would just like run around the octagon trying to not die until he died. Oh, you are ASU alum. Bro, I don't even know what to say about that. Like, I can't even imagine a world where we even have a room in any college that's like that. But we do. It's happening. Man. You know, and I get the other side. You know, some people are making the argument that, you know, those guys went in there with their shirt and their sticker to stir up stuff. You know, maybe they did. I don't know. But I guess my thing on that is that, so do we have freedom of speech or not? Regardless of whether you agree with the sticker that was on the kid's laptop and the shirt the other guy was wearing, regardless of whether you agree with that or not, are we not allowed to voice our opinions anymore, whether you agree with it or not? And it seems like the answer is no. It seems like pretty firmly the answer is no. So yeah, I don't know. I know that, you know, I probably don't view these things the way as most people do, because to me it's just kind of like, you know, what did you expect? So, you know, a lot of people tend to blame God on all this. And what's crazy to me is that the Bible is pretty clear on that. You know, there's even songs about, you know, the whole world is in his hands, talking about God, but that's not what the Bible says. 1 John 5:19 says that the whole world is lying in the power of the wicked one. So that's the opposite of the song. So if you believe that the Bible was inspired by God, then that means God is telling you that the whole world is in Satan's control. So what else would you expect? Now we could get into a long spiritual discussion as to why that is and what the outcome will be and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, the Bible's clear on that too. That's a temporary situation, but that is the situation we're in. Well, that's what we need to be clear on, I guess. Yeah, it's just I need a bourbon antidote. Need some. Okay, gotcha. When people argue about the color Jesus was, they're missing the point. I agree. You know, it's kind of like when people argue about the age of the earth or how long the creative days were, or, you know, anything like that. You know, those are things that Christians can talk about. I don't know how useful they are, but I mean, I think the main points we need to focus on are that Jesus was definitely here. He definitely did the things that the Bible says he did. He definitely died and got resurrected. And now he is, you know, soon going to come back and fix things and will then be ruling in heaven over this planet. And then as far as the creative days go, I think the most important part of that is that God created all this. That's what we need to focus on. Whether or not it was 24-hour literal days, which I I don't think that that's accurate. I don't think that's really how the Bible reads if you look at it all in context. But anyway, yeah, I think you're absolutely right, AC. I think that when people get hung up on the color of Jesus, first off, I think historically we know almost unequivocally that Jesus was neither black nor white. I mean, he was a Jew. So I mean, we pretty well know what those people look like. They haven't changed a whole lot since Jesus' time. So yeah, it's strange to me that, but it's because our whole world is driven by race these days, and so that's why anything about race has become an argument. Because why not? Even though I think what people should focus on is that the Bible goes out of its way to not mention the way that Jesus looked like. It could have. There's many other people in the Bible that their physique and other things are described. Not Jesus. There's probably a lesson there. The lesson is that God doesn't care. He doesn't care what you look like. So yeah, let's not focus on that. I think the message throughout the Bible is pretty clear, and that is that God cares about your works, not what you do. I'm sorry, not what you look like. But, it's always interesting. And I've talked to people on both sides. I've talked to somewhat racist white people that insist that Jesus was white. And I've talked to like Black Hebrew type people that insist that Jesus was black. Yeah, it's always, I don't even know if interesting conversation is the right word. It's something. It's a conversation that you can have. But I mean, historically, if you want to get serious about it, it's pretty easy to figure out what Jesus looked like. Just study the people of the Middle East today. Not that complicated. It hasn't changed much. So, yeah. Anywho, not a Bible guy, but definitely appreciate the teachings. Yeah, so Commandante Lou, I can understand that. So I think that modern day, if you don't want to get super biblical deep into the teachings, I think that and I'd be curious what your input is on this. I think Jordan Peterson has done a really good job of not getting super biblical, but still finding ways to take the teachings of the Bible and apply them to life, because that's really all he's doing. If you look through his 12 rules for life, he's really just adapting biblical teachings to the modern day, and he does a great job of it. But I mean, that's what he's doing. It's very applicable, and I think he, from a psychological perspective, he does a great job of working out how the human mind works and the way that we need to think about things to be successful. But I mean, if we're being fair, he's taking biblical teachings and just applying it to the modern day. And I think that's fantastic. I think more people need that, because there's so many people that just are kind of aimless in life, that they don't have any purpose. They have no drive. They just kind of leech off of society. And so even though I think that the Bible is the answer, as long as you get motivated and start doing something positive, then that's great. I think that the Bible would help you either way, but I would rather you do something positive than just sit around and do nothing. I see so many, especially young people these days, they just have no ambition, no desire to do anything, no goals. They're just aimless. They don't even want to learn anything. They're just like, they're very happy living with mom and dad and playing video games. And and I'm a gamer, so it's nothing against video games. It's just have some self-respect and go do something. I don't know. Yeah, people need some motivation for sure. have you done a review of Old Granddad bib? I have not. So if that's a suggestion, AZ, then I will go pick up one, because I think I did skip over that, and that's, yeah, I'll do that soon. And by the way, Commandante, I kind of said this earlier, but so a big part of the reason for this live stream is I wanted to reach out to kind of you guys, my kind of the guys that really follow me, the guys that join the lives, guys and girls, by the way, if there's any ladies watching. And just, you know, if you guys have suggestions, things you guys want to see, comparisons maybe you'd like to see, maybe a review that I haven't done that you'd like to see you done. That's kind of one of the main reasons I did this live. So I wanted to, you know, my true followers, the guys that are really watching all my videos, I want to, if there's something you guys want to see, I want to get it done for you guys. So, so AZ, I will go look for that this week. Old Granddad bib. See if we can get that done for you. And same with you, Commandante Lou. If there's one that you'd like to see, I'll try and get that out as well. Yeah, back to Jordan Peterson. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just that I think what he's doing best is he's finding practical ways to motivate the youth, and that seems to be who it's reaching. And so I'm really happy to see that. I hope that continues to be true. I know that he's kind of lost some prominence because he had to, you know, go into rehab and stuff. But you know, as a person that has dealt with addiction myself, I can respect what Peterson did, because he noticed that there was a problem and he took it upon himself to get rehab. I think that's a very healthy thing to do. I think that anybody should do that. If you see an issue in your life and you see something getting control of you, then, you know, do what you need to do to get that managed. So I respect Peterson for doing that. Yeah, I would agree with that. So here's the thing: is that if you study the Bible really thoroughly, I think that you can pick up those things. It's just that I think Peterson has done a lot of the work for people. Is what I would say. I think he's studied the Bible so intensely that he has picked up on a lot of those little kind of nuances in the wording and what the meaning of stories is so well that and because of him being a psychologist, he's found ways to apply that to life that maybe people kind of overlook. But I mean, the message is certainly there. It's just that I don't think I don't think everybody can interpret it that easily. And so I think I guess that's probably what I want to say, is that Peterson has found ways to make it easier to understand. And I would say a lot of that is because of the fact that you know, the Bible was written in a different language, so we're translating it from different languages to whatever language you read. And so I think things get lost that way. Not that the meaning is lost, but just that, you know, and also people spoke differently then. Not only is it a different language, but a different point in time. So, I mean, just like comparing Old English to New English. I mean, like the King James Bible is nearly unreadable now. You know, whereas if you get a modern translation, it's much easier to understand. So I think it's that as well. So yeah, I think Peterson has done a really good job of taking the stories in the Bible and making them easier to understand. Yeah, OGD 114 is great. That review is coming soon, AZ. So I can say that with certainty. So I've tried the bib, but it's been a while. But yeah, OGD 114, that is a go-to around here. I love that bottle. Yeah, so I would agree with that. I think that's probably the issue that a lot of people on the left had, is that he he is such a genius that they didn't know how to handle him. And so the only way they could handle him is by trying to shut him down, because I think they were afraid of what he would say. And I think that a lot of intelligent people on the left saw what he was trying to do and realized how harmful it would be to what they want done. Now, maybe this is my political bias, although I don't think that I really am, but it seems to me that what the left is trying to accomplish is dependency on government. Whereas, as far as I can tell, what Peterson is absolutely trying to do is help people become dependent on no one and become self-reliant and become efficient and become successful. So that kind of goes against everything that as far as I can tell, that the left is pushing for. My personal feeling is that if you can find success on your own, that's better than relying on anybody. Unless we're talking about God. But as far as humans go, I think if you can not rely on other humans and be successful on your own and be independent and self-reliant, I think that's a great place to be in life. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the left is right. I don't know. That's not really a realm I try and study deeply, because I don't think it matters much. Anyway, yeah, I wasn't going to get deep into it there, AZ, but yeah, and that's the thing, is that, see, not just me, but I've known other people, is that we get prescribed these things by doctors, and we're told that they're going to help us, and they might help you. But man, I've seen so many people that, whether it be anxiety medications or things for depression or painkillers, and they get on these things and then it ruins their lives because they have no ability to control how much they're taking. And so it just takes over their lives. And so that's why what I said earlier, that I respect Peterson for what he did, because he saw that it was getting a hold of him. And so he's like, you know what? No, this is not going to be part of my life. I'm getting rid of this. And that's a hard thing to do. It's hard to stop any addiction. It's not easy. So I say good on him for not just preaching it, but actually living what he says. Because there's so few people that do that. Because that's what a self-reliant, efficient person does. When you see something that's taking control of you, you stop it. It's the pathetic people that have no self-control and no discipline that become serious addicts, and it ruins their lives. So, yeah. So my drug of choice back in the day, not those, but back when I was a crazy person, and for any of you watching that have seen the other lives, and you probably know, I used to live a very different life, and it was about I was around a lot of drugs, a lot of partying, all that kind of stuff. And so my drug of choice was whiskey and Oxy-80s. And that was what I lived on for many years. And I don't know if anybody is familiar with oxys, but so essentially it's heroin, just more refined. I mean, because it's refined in a pharmaceutical company. So it's way better than anything you'll ever get on the street. So it's worse in some ways than coming off of heroin, because it's more potent. You can get heroin that's that potent, but it's very hard to come by. So in general, Oxy-80s are way stronger. Not always, but often. So yeah, anybody that can give up an addiction, I always say bravo, because that is not an easy thing to do. It's very difficult. You can feel like you're dying, and everything in your body wants to take another one. So good on you if you can stop. You know, and even this stuff, you got to watch it. You got to keep control of this. Yeah. I don't suggest it. Nowadays, AZ, I never take painkillers for anything, ever. I don't ever even want to tempt myself with ever taking anything like that. I don't care what the amount of pain is. I never take painkillers. I had a hernia surgery about 8 years ago now, and I took nothing because that's how much I am against painkillers. I think they absolutely ruin people's lives incredibly quick. I mean, they can get a hold of you so quickly that I never recommend them to anybody. If you can deal with the pain, I think that's better. And not just better because you don't become an addict, but also because I think dealing with pain is a useful thing to do. I think it builds character. It helps you deal with life better. If you can deal with pain, then you can deal with all kinds of things. It makes you stronger mentally. So, and I think that's a good goal to have. Be as strong mentally as you can be. I don't think anything that promotes weakness is helpful. Yeah, I wish I could agree with that, AZ. I probably have more than that, but you know, now of course it depends on what you mean by healthy pour. So, I mean, you guys have seen me pour on camera. So I usually pour about like that. I guess that's about an ounce, something like that. And I'll probably have 2 to 3 of those on an evening that I drink, which works out to about 3 to 4 ounces, I would guess. And so as far as I know, I've always seen the kind of analogy that, you know, so 1 shot, which is 1 ounce, is equal to 1 beer. So if you're breaking it down that way, I'm having maybe 3 to 4 beers in an evening where I drink, which I guess maybe some people would find excessive, but something to note is that I'm nearly 6'3", and I weigh 225. So it takes a little bit for me to notice it. 1 shot does basically nothing. So, you know, I want to feel it a little bit, but not lose control. Had a root canal and declined painkillers, went home and took ibuprofen instead. Yep. Yeah, that's a safer route. Because, man, I remember when I had my hernia surgery, that was during the time when they were giving out oxys like crazy. That was way before, you know, the FDA or whoever really cracked down on it. And so, yeah, they were offered to me immediately. They wanted to give me oxys for the pain. I said, no, it's okay. And they were like, well, just take the prescription. And so I was like, all right, fine. So I took it and I threw it in the garbage outside of the doctor's office because there's no way I'm ever taking that again. That was a different life, and I don't ever want to go back there. Well, AZ, we're down. I think it's just, well, it shows 2. I don't know who else is with us here. But were there any other reviews that you have hopes of seeing in the near future? I know you mentioned Old Granddad Bib. So just here, let me do this. I'll run through what we have coming so you know. So as I said, Redwood Empire, both of these that I showed tonight, those will be coming soon. High West will obviously be in the fairly near future, but that's a $50-ish, $60 bottle, so that'll be a little ways off, but that'll be coming. Larceny Barrel Proof will be this coming Saturday. I'll get the Old Granddad Bib in there soon. OGD 114 is coming. Cooper's Craft 100 is coming. Maker's Mark 46 is already filmed. Let's see here. What else is in the $30 price range? Oh, yeah, Monkey Shoulder, which is the first Scotch on the channel. That's already shot as well. Did that today. That's coming soon. Yeah, basically kind of focused on $30-ish price stuff right now. because I'm going to be doing. I probably will end up doing like a Whiskey War bracket. So I'm thinking about doing. So Michter's is around the $40 to $45 price range. So it won't be in this group, but will definitely be in the next group that I have planned. Like I said, right now I'm kind of focused on between $30 and $40 bourbons and scotches and things like that. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm probably going to work out about 12 of those, and then I'm going to do kind of like a bracket system and work it down to 4 and do the final Whiskey War for the best in the $30 price range. I got 5 on Larceny. Yeah. Well, Commandante Lou, actually, Larceny was in a previous Whiskey War. So if you missed that, Larceny was in my Wheated Whiskey War. That was a month or 2 ago, and it won. So yeah, you just won $5. Okay, so that's a good one. Yeah, I planned on picking that up. Did you do Russell's 10? That will definitely be that's definitely in the $30 price range. That will be in there. I just haven't grabbed one yet. I had a bottle like about 6-8 months ago that I finished off, so I need to grab one of those because that is a good one. So that'll be in there. That'll be definitely in the $30 price range kind of bracket. And that's kind of my plan for the end of the year is getting all these $30 ones out, all those reviews out, and probably finish up the bracket around end of the year. That's probably how it'll work out. And then definitely Michter's. I got the whole Michter's line ready to go. Those reviews will definitely be coming because those are some of my favorites. Well, guys, I think I'm going to wrap up. It's about 11 here, and I got church in the morning. So I'm going to knock off a little early tonight, get some rest, get plenty of water in me. And you guys have a good one. Thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the comments. And thank you, Commandante Lou, for coming over here. I'm glad to see you over here. Thank you so much. Hanging AZ, always a pleasure. Glad you made it. Thank you for all the comments. And I guess Adam dipped out on us, but I'll just say thank you to him anyway. And thank you, everybody. Thank you for all the subs. I appreciate it so much. Even though I know 250 is not a big deal, we're still a small channel, and I wasn't sure I would get here, especially 3 or 4 months ago. Never thought I'd be having 250 subscribers. I was below 100 for a long time, so this is awesome for me. Super excited and can't wait for the channel to grow. So thank you, everybody. Everybody's seeing this in the future, and thank you, Commandante Lou and Hanging AZ and Adam again for joining us. And we will see you guys next time, and hopefully that will be next Friday. I'm going to try and have Charles join us then. Either he will stream it or I will. We haven't worked that out yet, but he said we'll talk more during the week. So thank you everybody again, and good night. We'll see you guys.